Up next on Inspiring Beauty and Believers.
There needs to be some positivity when you're talking about a man. It can't always be this deadbeat, this blah, 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 blah. Because the truth.
How can women demonstrate love to men in relationships and or mother-son relationships?
Okay. So I feel like Jay hit, I think, probably the most universal thing for men is respect, hands down. I completely agree with that 100%. When it comes to a woman loving a man, we want to be respected probably more than anything else. The ironic part is those of us who were either raised without fathers and or without good marriage examples, we have this idea of what we think that respect looks like, but we don't know what it's really founded on. And so she may not either, but we just know that whatever she's doing may not measure up to what the idea is in our head. And again, it goes with these unspoken, well, sweetheart, what does respect look like to you? You know, how can I help you get to the point of, you know what I'm saying, or how can I help us? Okay, hey, so y'all want a son? Anybody want a little boy?
Yeah, I got another.
We're almost done.
Look,
He just busted in. He had the whole thing on his face and was just doing this to me right behind the phone. I'm like, man, I'm trying to do something, man.
He said, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
look,
So in any case, you know, taking the time to say, yo, I know I want you to respect me. I don't feel like I'm being respected now, but I'm also not sure I know exactly what I want. Let's navigate this together. Let's talk through this. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, a man innately wants to be seen as one. I want to be seen as a man in my home. And if there's something that you're doing or saying that's making me not feel like a man, I'm going to feel disrespected. If you take away the opportunity for me to be a man, I'm going to feel disrespected. When me and my wife, son, take that outside. Take that out. Thank you. Our freshman year of marriage, I was with a group of my friends, all dudes, and they was teasing me about something. I can't remember what it was, but they was giving me a hard time. We all laughing. I'm like, man, forget y'all, man. I'll fight all. You know, we just being silly, just doing stuff. My wife pulled up. She happened to pull up in the thick of the hazing and started to defend me. And when I tell you that my face got so serious, I said, stop. Don't do that. Never defend me to men. You can defend me to women. Don't you ever defend me to another man. I said, it's about to be worse when you leave now. They was already teasing me before you got here. It's about to be worse when you leave because a girl stuck up for me. Don't ever do that. And she was like, are you serious? I was like, I'm dead serious. And she was like, later, like, yo, I know you don't know, but I'm telling you that was disrespectful. Like, you put me in a bad situation by doing it. And so again, it all goes back to communication. And my wife's mind, he with his friends, they be no ma'am, please stop. I'm about to get, now, before they tease me, now I'm about to get jumped. You know what I'm saying? Now you're the mom who's sticking up for me at the playground with the schoolyard bully. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Teach me how to fight. Don't come protect me at the playground from the schoolyard bully. I know that was a long roundabout way, but the respect portion is so heavy because ultimately all we want to do is we want to please you. As a woman, we want to please you. We want to bring what a man brings to a relationship. And if you take the opportunity away from us, then it's like, okay, well, what am I doing here? If you can do this all by yourself, if you don't need me, then why am I here? If I don't play a role in the fullness of what makes our house a home, then what are we doing here? Let me be a man. Let me, thank you. Allow me to, talk to my boys, to my sons, the way that a man talks to his sons. Don't come in and tell me I'm being too hard on them or something. Now, granted, if I'm abusing them or something, by all means, we need to talk about that. But this go back to what Jay was saying earlier too. Like, I'm going to approach them differently than you are because men talk to men in ways that women don't talk to men. You need to allow me the freedom to do that. And vice versa. I also need to allow a woman the opportunity to comfort and console the way that a man may not in a particular situation. We got to make room for each other. So that respect is two ways, but your question was geared towards men. So I'm giving you that perspective, but I do believe that that's very much a two-way street. The last part of that is, for me, it's a communication thing. How do you need me to love you? Like, instead of me telling you how women should love men, every respective man and woman should have those conversations. Right. What is it that you need from me in order to feel loved? And if that doesn't come naturally to me, like I told you, my wife's primary love language is acts of service. And that's a 0 on my list, an absolute 0. So at this point, my wife understands if I do an act of service, that's like the fullness of my love being expressed. Because I didn't feel like it don't come naturally to me, and it did nothing for me. It was all out of love for you. You understand what I'm saying? Because that means nothing to me. But I did it because I knew it would be a blessing to you. You know what I'm saying? So I really think, in regards to your question, a woman asking her husband or her potential suitor or whatever, how is it that I could properly love you? I think the mom and the son, that's an hour of dialogue all by itself. So I'm gonna digress on that one. We can hit that in part 2.
Yes.
Did you want to respond on that one? Because you were saying that you want us to answer, what can a woman do, or was that for the second part? I just want to make sure.
No, that's the last question that we're having for this one.
Okay. So I think it's kind of like what everybody was saying, respect is big, but one of the parts is, as far as I want to say with single mothers, is sons see how you respect their father as well. So even though he may not be nothing, either don't say nothing or speak as, okay, daddy is still good. Because if you're speaking bad about the man, the father, who it is, it's going to enter into me as, okay, then maybe that's what a man is. A deadbeat, blah, 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 blah. I guess that's in me. So now a man, this boy feels like being a man is this, which is negative. So you have to speak positive about men in general. And you have to allow them to be able to walk in that. And myself personally, like, one of my things, I have a daughter. I had to learn how to get her hair together, right? So I went to y'all and I was like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? How do I do? They start talking about words and stuff. I was like, do y'all realize y'all speaking a second language to me? I don't know what hot oil is or none of this. I don't know. I just know I need to help a baby out so her hair ain't good. So reach out to these brothers as well and let them talk to you. Let them be in, a child's life. Be vulnerable and say, I need help. Because sometimes what happens to a woman is like, I got this. I can, even on Father's Day, you see on Facebook, Happy Father's Day to me. Because
that's a whole conversation in itself. It makes me cringe.
Show is.
You know what I'm saying?
A little bit, because I'm just like, I get what you're trying to say, and I've had it said to me multiple times, and I feel you. I feel where you're trying to go with that. But no part of all of this over here is man at all. So let the fathers have, because I don't see I don't see them doing it for men who are single fathers raising their daughters or raising their children on Mother's Day. They don't be like, Happy Mother's Day to me because I'm raising this child by myself. Like, only females do that, and it's so.
Or what they do is they say, oh, my son is my king. Oh, no, you don't do that. Don't do that. You put this boy and put him as the head of your household. You see what I'm saying? I see women. It's like,
a whole nother. I'm writing down questions for the next one. I'm writing down questions for the next one. You go ahead.
Yeah, but that's one of the things that you can't do, because you're setting your son up for failure, realistically, because you're setting him up for so many different things. And like I said, that ain't the real question, and it goes onto a whole nother aspect, but you are a vital part of that boy's life. But because they are a man or want to be a man, you have to show them that. I can't teach my daughter how to be. I got to say, hey, baby, you beautiful. One of the things that blew me up, she's 9. And I have to tell her, baby, you need a bra on. I ain't never had to wear a bra. I don't know nothing about bras. She just like, it's uncomfortable. But I'm like, baby, you need these women that told me, baby, you got to wear a bra. And I got to do that. I have to instill that in her as far as how she wears her clothes. My boys, they wear pants, they wear shorts. I'm like, baby, so check this out. You put your hands on your sides. If you're touching skin, it's too short. You know what I'm saying? But we have to be careful, especially when it's a father and a daughter and, it's a woman and a son. We have to flip our minds a little bit how we do it. But yeah, you got your questions, but that's how I really feel about as far as being respectful, and make sure that if you want a strong boy to be a man, then you need to speak some type of life into. I don't care if you talk about your daddy, your uncle, your nephew, whatever. There needs to be some positivity when you're talking about a man. It can't always be this deadbeat, this blah, 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 because the child hears that. That's soaking right into their head. So how do you expect them not to act a certain way if that's all they hear from their mom?
Yeah. So last but certainly not least.
Excuse me, that's my son texting me. My son is 6'5". He's fine. Trust me. He's just hungry. That's all. But the main thing that everyone said, basically, RJ started with respect. In my ex-wife, my last marriage, I was very much disrespected in front of kids. And if you respect us, I believe there's nothing we wouldn't do for you.
Absolutely.
I mean, we would. The Bible says, for a woman to submit to, to her husband, we're to submit to each other. Of course, yes. When it talks about a woman submitting, usually people cringe when they hear that word submission. But if you read that entire scripture at the end, it tells you, a man to love his wife the way that Christ loved the church. And what did God do for the church? Jesus did for the church. He died for the church.
Mm-hmm.
So respect us, and there's absolutely nothing that we will not do for you. We'll get up in the morning and fix your flat tire. We'll cook you breakfast, and so respect is really key. And I want to feel safe. I want to feel safe where I can come back to my wife, and if I need a shoulder to cry on, I can cry on my wife's shoulders, and not feel like any less. But respect. Sorry, feeling safe and just knowing that I can come to her and allow us to lead. We want to lead as men. We want to feel like we matter, especially in our households, in our homes. And I'm not asking for the world to feel pity on us, but when we go out into the world, we do carry a lot around with us. We do, and when we come back home, we should at least feel honored and safe in our homes. We should be able to come home and get re-energized and refueled to go back out into the world again, to fight again, and not come in our households and get beat up, not come in our household and hear, hey, my son is the king and you're not the king. It's not right, but respect is really, really key, I believe. And that doesn't make us dictators. We're not asking to rule over you, but if we're doing what the word of God says, women submitting to their husbands, and men are loving their wives the way that Christ loved the church, it really is a beautiful thing. It really is. And the world frowns on it. But when we can be on one accord and we're both looking to God, for our instruction, how we should love each other, how we should care for each other, it really is a beautiful thing at the end of the day. And I'm grateful. I fought a lot to get to where I am right now in my life, in my marriage. I fought a lot, even in my current marriage now, which will be my last marriage. I fought a lot.
It better be.
Hey,
Shout out to my cousin Jasmine. I got your back,
No,
girl.
my wife, okay? Why she better?
Oh, okay, I get it now.
That's why. Okay, bro. But this will be the last time I'm ever married again, you know. And I fought for this, you know, and I fought to get my wife to understand that I have her best interest at heart. I have her biological children's best interest at heart. So me, this new man coming into your life, trying to tell your kids, you know, how to be, what to do. I love them. I truly love them. I love them with the heart of Christ. I have, and I can say this, I've loved these children more than what their own biological fathers love them, you know, and just to acknowledge that, to just let me know you appreciate that. And my wife does all that for me, and I'm grateful for that. So for women that are watching this, you know, honor your husband, you know, show him that respect. Show him that you appreciate him. Yes, he may have made mistakes, just like you have made mistakes, you know, and we get beat up so much as men. It's easy to point out what a man is doing wrong. Even on Mother's Day or Father's Day in church, you know, they're going to find some way to point out what the man is doing wrong. But you rarely ever hear them lifting up the man, you know, encouraging him, telling him that you're proud of him, you know, for what he's doing, for what he's saying, you know, telling you you're proud of him for controlling his temper, you know, but it's just honor us, respect us. You know, that's really, really key for men, I believe. Men want that respect.
Can I chime back in?
Yeah, go ahead, Courtney.
See me at my lowest, but still see me the same.
That's good.
And can I add to that as well? I think it was a TD Jakes that made this statement that I heard it somewhere. My brother and I heard it, that if a woman would forgive her husband the way that she could, if women could forgive their husbands the way they forgive their sons, because your son could commit murder and you will love that boy.
That's a fact.
That's my baby. He didn't do it. He might, but can you forgive me that way too? I'm not saying no, I'm beating you up. I'm not saying that, you know. But if a woman could forgive her husband the way she forgive her son, man, and there was a clinical psychologist that asked a question one day. He said, you know, the question was, who's the most important person in the household? Husband, wife, kids. And of course, the average person said the kids. And he said, I disagree. He said, it has to be mom and dad. Because if mom and dad, if you and I are fighting at each other, going beside each other's head, the kids are going to be screwed up. And I tell my kids right now, I love all y'all, but that's my wife.
Facts.
And I'm going to serve her. I'm going to wipe her feet for her. I'm going to serve her first. I'm going to bring her food first. And the same, she does the same thing for me. But if they can see us loving each other that way and standing together, man, what a great example for them. The example that probably wasn't given to any of us, probably. I know for sure it wasn't given to me. And I had to learn the hard way, you know, but just the most important, it should be mom and dad. And when the kids can see mom and dad standing together, loving each other, man, what a beautiful example for those kids. It gives them something to look forward to in life.
Yeah.
So
I snatched my 3-year-old up and said, don't you ever talk to my wife that way. I know that's his mama, but that wasn't the context at the time. I don't like the way you talking to my wife in my house.
Been done. Been done.
My wife sent him downstairs to get some meat out of the freezer to cook for him. And he gave her attitude. So of course I heard it, came out the room. I walked down the stairs behind him. I said, what's going on, man? I said, why are you talking to my wife that way? And something just snapped at me, bro. I grabbed him by the neck, picked him up, threw him on the back of the car. I said, listen, I never allowed you to talk to your mama that way. Your biological mom. And don't you think that I'm going to come in this house and talk to my wife that way. So don't ever let that happen again. And that was 5 years ago. And my wife just told me about a year ago. She said that happened one time that boy really disrespected me and it was bad. She said, and you nipped it in the bud. And I tell my son, yeah, some jealousy probably kicks in. You know, you love her more than you love me. I was hit before her. Okay, I get all that. I understand that, son. I do. but I love you, son. My love for my wife is completely different than how I love you.
Right.
But you have to understand order in this house here. I love my wife. That's my wife. At some point in time, son, you're going to leave and you're going to live your life. So if I sit here defending you and making things bad between me and my wife, you're going to leave me one day, brother. You're going to leave me high and dry. So I'm going to protect my peace with my wife right now. Okay.
Absolutely.
And one day they'll understand.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I had to do that to my son. And after everything, like I did the whole mic thing, I ain't gonna share, but he ended up in a fetal position in his bathroom. And then I had to tell my wife, I said, need to go talk to your son and show him some love.
Yeah, he needs his mama right now.
So now I'm sure, because it was the same thing. He had disrespected her. I went into the house and she told me what he said.
Man.
He got snatched up, and then he ended up, let's just say, like I said, in the bathroom in a fetal position. And then I said, okay, now it's your turn to come show him this love that you need right now. Show him that other part. But yeah, it's your mama, but it's my wife. Understand that.
Facts.
And sometimes with my son, because he's the oldest, he didn't hit some of my kids. And I told him like this. I said, check this out. I will not allow anybody to hurt any of my kids, including you. So the problem is when you do that, I'm going to treat you like a man. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to treat you like anybody else. Just like anybody hurt you, you hurt them, I'm going to handle you the same way. And those are the man conversations that you need to have with your boys. You don't lay hands, period. That just don't happen. So, yeah, I know we late, so we could talk for ever and ever. So, yeah, you need to make a part 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, this one already going to get split up into a couple different ones and stuff. And then
It's going to have to be more than a couple.
I'll get with y'all offline so we can schedule another time to, come back together because listen, this is much needed conversations that don't happen. At least I don't see them happening. I know women, we talk about a lot of stuff, but we don't really see men talk about things, and having a open forum for them to be able to communicate and share their hearts in a safe place and not have a woman jumping down their throat telling y'all, you can't be like this. You can't think like that because you're supposed to be this and this and that. Because a lot of times, and most of you guys, I think, said it, is a lot of the way that we think men are supposed to act is by what we saw when we were growing up or what we saw on TV or whatever. So we all have misunderstandings or there's a word I'm trying to think.
That works.
Misconceptions of what a man really is and what a man is supposed to be. And so we have to break that generational curse. We have to fix that stigma and that stereotype of what a man is supposed to be, what a Black man is supposed to be. Like, you don't have to be, and that's again a whole nother conversation, but you don't have to be a thug to be a real man. Like, you don't have to be on the street selling crack or whatever, all of the different stereotypes. You can be real, you can be honest, you can be, legit, so it's a lot of stuff. Jay, are you just sitting up because you're just sitting up regular? And
I'm sitting up because it's almost time to go, because that bed over there has been about 4 days straight. That bed looking ooh-wee so nice right now.
Okay, I was just making sure. I didn't want to,
Thank you.
But I thank you all so much for being here for this. I truly appreciate it so much. And again, to all of you guys that are watching, thank you for joining us. Continue the conversation in the comments section below. Put your questions down there, any topics that you want. We can definitely have this conversation again. We will have it again, but more feedback from you will help us to have better, because I put down a whole list of other questions again. So, and we didn't even finish all the questions we have, but as always, I love you guys so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with everybody that you know, so that we can just get this word out and bring some healing to the men that really need this, because I'm a firm believer that when a man is whole, it trickles down to the rest of the family. It makes the family whole, which makes the community whole, which will ultimately heal the entire world. So we have to help our men to get to where they're supposed to be. And So I love you guys, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Subscribe so you don't miss next week's video.
You a king of what, dude? What is your past? What are you trying to grow? What are you trying to do? That tells me that you a true king.
So they want to be acknowledged as being the man that's on top, but they're too insecure that if there's somebody caught them being servant, that, oh, see, he's not a king, he's just a servant. Like, they're too insecure of what other people think of if they catch them doing the servant part.
But even being a king, that's how you show other people how to live their best life. When you're not afraid to actually show, you know what, there's nothing wrong with taking this hard route. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the first step. Follow me.
Man, which he was all that, you know. But Jesus is the first one to stand up to you and tell you that you're wrong. You know, he's the first person to stand up and defend someone that nobody else.
But I'll just get right to the point. If you want to be the greatest in the kingdom, you must be serving to all. So most people got to understand the king or not, though